Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the World Championship Series Global Finals. I'm Nathanius, joined by Pig and Tasteless, and we're going to be getting ready for an amazing matchup ahead: Rogue versus Neeb.
Oh yeah, this is the big one of the group, right? These are the two big boys.
I think so. These are the two players that you're going to be rooting for, and it's kind of sad that they're facing off right away. Neeb has sort of been the hero of the non-Korean scene. He's the guy that's proving you can go all the way. You can win a Korean tournament. And Rogue's story is really kind of a Cinderella story. Yeah. He squeezed in the last second. He was the last guy to fill that spot. He's someone who's been up and down throughout his career, but he seems to be at the best form ever. Maybe the best version of Zerg we've ever seen. Yeah,
he's actually looking unstoppable. When he's on point right now, it's like, if he can bring that A game he showed back in Shanghai, the A game he showed in the GSL Super Tournament, Rogue is definitely like a big favorite for this tournament. And really, I think he's the only Zerg that a lot of people out there are really saying he's got a good shot of taking the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, these are two of the biggest players we looked at in this group. Of course, we did have Nurchio just drop against Su. He'll be waiting in the lower bracket match for the loser of this series. But I feel like everybody outside Korea, the whole foreign scene has really, you got to put all your chips in on Neeb right now. He's been doing so well this year. 3 championship titles. He's taken big wins against these Korean players before. Does he have what it takes? Of course, we can see how Group B has shaped up so far. Does he have what it takes to beat Rogue? Is Rogue unstoppable?
Well, here's the way I'm looking at this. First of all, Rogue is showing how elastic and insane Zerg can be in the super late game. He's pulling off these tricks, especially in the second super tournament we were casting in Korea. It was phenomenal. I think as good as Neeb is late game, that's going to be tough for even him to take on Rogue. So I'm guessing maybe Neeb might have to go for a quicker game. It's hard to say, though, because Neeb's also had phenomenal late game.
I think it's a really good point, though, because Neeb has kind of evolved as a player recently. There was a really good interview he did recently, and he talked about how he's not just practicing the same standard late game strategies. And when he went into Montreal, he was a bit surprised because he felt a lot of the foreign scene has this approach where they want to try and grind out this late game. You've got the perfect macro game. And he was like, I just wanted to win in the mid game. I had a clear plan. I had my timing attacks. And it felt almost easy. And he was saying it's like surprising how he's just cleaving through these brackets. And I think this is the new Neeb, where he says, I don't just grind out the same game. Every game, I change up something, even if it's something small. And because of that, he's kind of evolved. He used to be like, hey, I'm going for the late game a lot of the time. I'm doing the same openings that are just unstoppable. Now he's a bit more volatile. So when you're facing off against him as a Zerg player, Rogue has got to be very nervous. He's going to say, what is Neeb going to throw out? Sometimes he's massing oracles. Other times he's just doing these completely opposite ground-based styles. You never know what you're going to get with the Neeb that we're seeing right here at BlizzCon.
Yep, and this is the matchup. It's going to be Rogue versus Neeb. We've talked about this. We've seen Neeb bust out all sorts of builds. Being able to follow him through the WCS circuit, Pig, I think we can agree, he has shown a lot of variance, a lot of maturing as a player in terms of his strategies. Last year, when we saw Neeb playing on the big stage, the story was about his nerves. You know, he was scared to play against guys like Thermal in the finals of Shanghai. He got worked up. That doesn't seem to be an issue for him going into this year.
You know, it's funny because there's some parallels with these two players and how they've had to deal with their own emotions, because Rogue's had big ups and downs. I know when I was casting him in Pro League, there were periods where he had some of the best games of his life, and then other days he would completely bomb out. But he seems to have found his form. And with Neeb here as well, he is a guy who he's got enough experience now. He seems like he's able to deliver the stuff he's practiced, the stuff he's learned, into the most important matches in his entire career. So it's going to be really cool to see these two guys who've had a lot of, like I said, big ups and downs, now facing off against each other when they're in the best, I guess, emotional form we've seen yet. They seem to really keep a really clean slate psychologically coming into these big matches.
Yeah, there's a real maturity developing with some of these characters. Neeb, of course, you know, he was playing since he was 14 years old in the Premier League. He came out, he used to be a Terran player. Since then, he's evolved, he's changed, and even after finding his feet as Protoss, we can say he's really come into his own this year. He's dominated the WCS circuit. We've seen him holding that trophy over and over and over again. and it doesn't seem like it's going to be stopping anytime soon.
It seems like the last thing Neeb still has to develop is now that swagger of being a champion. You know,
Yeah.
He's got to bring out the smack talk. He's got to come out with his U.S. flag jacket. You know, but he is a monster, and we've seen him destroy so many Zergs in particular over the course of the last year and a half. I think starting back with his mini rivalry he had with Hydra last year, which he eventually turned into domination.
Yeah, it was like over the course of 6 months, it went from, man, Hydra just always seems to barely topple him over. He gets through the defense to, oh, it's another 3-0. Oh, yeah, that's just Neeb versus Hydra, man. He just kept on cleaving through the Zergs. Of course, that was the Adept era back then.
Yeah.
They've been coming back. They've been finding some use. Players like Hero, we've seen Neeb as well, throwing Adept timings in with their Oracles. The absolute range of strategy right now, I think, which is available to Protoss in the PvZ matchup with the whole opening 8 minutes, that's what gives Neeb a good edge here. I feel like Rogue opens up very similar. He's kind of just scouting, he's looking around, he's trying to identify what Protoss is up to. And it's going to very much be Rogue as the reflexive player here and Neeb as the aggressor, I believe.
Yeah, but Rogue, we know he can play Tasels that can anticipate and work around that. That's what makes him such a good player that he is here, that he does come in so hot to this tournament.
Yeah, it's very true. Again, the thing about Rogue is he's got not just really clean entry into the late game, but it's what he does in the late game, how he uses all the unit abilities, how he manages to stay on top. That's where I'm really curious. If we can get a game that goes for that long, how does Neeb handle that?
We've seen Neeb play some crazy late game too with the Sky Toss, lots of stasis boards.
For sure. He has it, and he's awesome, but I don't know if that compares to what we've seen Neeb do, especially in those late games in the Super Tournament. It was
there
like,
was a crazy game
I've ever
like
seen
versus
before.
stats there where Rogue was like coming back in a situation where it used to be we've always felt like the Protoss players were favored in that super late game scenario. Players like Rogue have really turned that understanding upside down, and we've started to realize it comes down a lot more to the strategic decision making. How are they going to adapt in that late game? His ability to just never take a bad or impatient engagement. He never walks his infestors into Psystorm and carriers, the thing which I think most Zerg players end up doing. And Rogue always, he's just so patient. He finds a way, and you add that to a very solid mid game. It's not like he's just playing for the end game, and he becomes a very difficult Zerg opponent.
This just seems like a great matchup overall. Rogue comes in here as a very strong player. A lot of people hyping him up to be potentially the biggest contender in this tournament. And of course, I mean, the win rates are always weird to look at, right? Because he's playing against all the other top Korean players throughout the course of the year, which is going to naturally keep things a bit tighter. But we want to give him the edge in this, you know, on paper. He's a favorite against Neeb.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I'm definitely rooting for Neeb as an American, but
well, I'm super biased too. So.
Yeah, but I think just in the last maybe 2 months or so, the way that Rogue has been playing is really scary. Now, let's also not forget, he's had lots of ups and downs in his career. I mean, we might see him not play as well as he's not able to get that consistent rhythm. Neeb seems to have really hit his stride earlier in this year. Neeb seems to deliver a lot more consistency. But when Rogue's playing at his is playing at his best, as far as I can tell, that's the scariest thing in StarCraft 2 next to maybe innovation in a macro game.
Any final thoughts on this series before we jump in, Jared?
I want to see some swarm hosts from Rogue. I think if he pulls those out on a map like Abyssal, it's going to really be hard for Neeb to deal with. I think Rogue's the favorite here, but Neeb could show us anything. It's a very close match.
All right, it's time to find out if the American Hope can topple the current Korean Titan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Neeb versus Rogue.
All right, thanks, guys. Todd, it is time for such a crazy match. Neeb, who won 3 titles this year, the best foreigner, going up against Rogue, who won 2 titles in Korea. And, well, I guess one was in China, but 2 of those titles. And
yeah, Rogue is a last-minute qualified player there. Barely made it into the global finals with a clutch win very recently, but actually he's the top dog. Like, we shouldn't look at him as, like, you know, the guy that barely made it and, you know, it was close and, you know, he's just good enough. No, he's actually the top dog right now over in South Korea, and he's doing really well. He's had a lot of impressive series, in particular that recent grand finals that he played against Hero.
Oh, man.
And
well, that whole tournament by him was just the sickest run, just like in Shanghai. I mean, Rogue was just on fire this second half of the year. And I mean, I was talking about it during Super Tournament. I'm keeping with it. I think Rogue wins BlizzCon, man. I think this is the best player in the world.
He's definitely regarded as perhaps the best with innovation, like the favorite here, I think, to do very well. But it feels like the best that South Korea has to offer against the best from the circuit.
Yeah,
here, in
the rest of the world.
Yeah,
it's the world versus Korea once again here, but we've actually
hopefully it
taken
goes better for the world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, this definitely could go either way. It looks like the game now beginning. Ascension I are going to be map number 1, and Neeb opening up with a quick PP. Wasn't expecting that.
I don't think too many people were.
No.
Not
Well, he's
either.
throwing Rogue off right off the bat. You know, Rogue is sitting there. He's getting ready for his build order, and there you have it. A little pause. We'll get that fixed, whatever it might be. But Ascension I, what do you think about this map, PVZ?
I think, like, regardless of map, like Neeb and Pig touched on that, he's capable of doing a lot of different things, which is definitely a great asset to have, or one good thing that you can have going for yourself going to this kind of series. But I actually had a chat with him, and he said some contradictory stuff. He told me that he thought that against most Zergs and most foreigners in particular, he definitely could afford to, you know, mix in a lot of different builds, play some cannon rushes in there, and, you know, just play like differently all the time. But against Rogue, he thought that he can only use his absolute best builds, those that he practices the most.
Yeah.
So first of all, I kind of wonder what that is. In particular, like probably going to be some sort of standard play, you know, maybe with like adepts and stuff.
Sure.
But if he doesn't start mixing in different builds, then Rogue, he becomes predictable. Rogue will adjust as well, and maybe, you know, get away with more stuff and counter Neeb properly.
All right. Well, let's jump into this now. Looks like everything's fixed in the top left. Our American hope, it's Neeb. Going to be playing his absolute best strategies, as Todd said. And in the bottom right, the scariest player in the world, it's Rogue. And, you know what?
In-game at least.
Yeah, well, no, he's quite an imposing figure anyways. I don't know if you knew this. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well, Todd.
No, he's not.
You don't know. You have no idea. So you said that Neeb was talking about having to use his absolute best strategies, and I would tend to agree with this assessment because the best aggressive Protoss in the world, tell me if you agree, I would say it's Hero.
Yeah.
And Hero was on fire and threw everything in his toolbox. The kitchen sink, absolutely, the baguette, if you will. He threw everything at Rogue, and Rogue was still able to defeat him in Super Tournament.
Yeah. But there were definitely some things that I think could have been done a little bit differently. You know, trying to go for Kairos on Abyssal, which like a Rogue countered perfectly, like things like that.
Yeah.
I think definitely Neeb could do better and learn from just from rewatching those games.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting dynamic. Actually, Neeb, one of the things that kind of surprised me that he added after telling me that, you know, against Rogue, like Rogue was so good that he needed to do only his best builds, is that he was like, actually, against Sue, maybe I can mix in a lot of different builds. I was like, whoa!
Yeah.
You know, like very ambitious talk, but
well,
it's interesting. Like Rogue definitely is like the most respected Zerg out there right now.
I'm actually kind of getting chills that he said that about Sue, because Sue has been one of the best Zergs all year. Like, if you look, top 3 Zergs this year for Korea, Rogue, Dark, and Sue, right? Like, I mean, you can put them in whatever order you want, and I think it's hard to argue any order. But, like, to say that he can do that against Sue, I think kind of shows. And the thing is, Neeb is not arrogant, guys. I've talked with Neeb a lot of times,
it's the opposite
one-on-one.
of what's the opposite of arrogant? Modest.
Yeah, he is. He's super modest, and like he's totally chill. But when you actually sit down and talk to him, you can see like his level of understanding, I think, is the highest we have ever had for a foreign pro. And I think he looks at this and he sees the way they play, and I think he absolutely believes what he's saying, where it's like, okay, Rogue is the ultimate Zerg, and Sue, maybe this guy is more comparable to a Serral or a Nurchio.
Yeah, he has a great mindset about the game, like we saw in the WCS Signature Series, helped us learn a lot from these guys, and he was one of those guys that said, working on StarCraft is kind of like, you know, working on myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's very true, and he's definitely had the right attitude about that. We see a Stargate opener there, so gonna be some oracles going around, and when, again, Neeb says he needs to use his best builds, this is kind of what you expect, you know, some adepts, some oracles. He could definitely mix in a Dark Shrine opener in one of the games, you know, if he feels confident.
You mean like Archon drop type of play? Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him mix it up a little bit. The thing is, against Rogue, if he is going to use his best openers, it's going to be Oracle almost every time. And whether that's in a mass Oracle or into, you know, some Prism harassment with Storm, I'm not sure which way he's gonna tend with this, but the Oracle opening is the safest, most flexible, and, you know, build that you have out there. If you don't open with that Oracle, then your opponent might just stop you dead in your tracks, whatever you're doing, and you're not going to have scouting intel, you're not going to get damage done, you're going to have a hard time.
Neeb's Master Oracle is actually incredible. Like, he had some crazy games in the WCS circuit, but again, because it's Rogue, he might be a little bit more scared to try and pull that off.
And by the way, while we've been talking this whole time, there's no third base. This is a wild build that we're actually seeing from Rogue here. He's adding his gases already. He's gotten the super fast layer as well as the Roach Warren. So this could be like a Nidus play. This could be a Swarm Host base play after the Roaches. I mean, obviously, when you go two-base Roach Warren, you're not going to die to anything early, but Neeb is not attacking. He's scouting what's happening and going for his third.
Neeb is one of those Protosses, or even players, that is one of the best out there mechanically. He will always expand, so if he's able to get ahead economically, usually it's going to be the beginning of the end for Rogue. So I feel like, yeah, there it is. The Nidus is going to start, and actually, Neeb didn't really adjust, I think, to what Rogue did here. Like, I mean, he saw there was no third base, but it's not like he's getting, you know, more gateways to make sure he doesn't die to something like a Nidus. He made another Stargate, which against Mass Quince and Nidus is not necessarily going to be the best of choices.
It's actually going to be very, very hard. We did see Rogue lose with this build against Hero, if I recall, because Hero like responded perfectly. He was throwing down stasis wards against the outcoming units, utilizing Mass Oracles against it. The Void Ray is about to pop out, so that's kind of nice, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on here, man.
Yeah, he's going to take a lot of pylons, overcharges. I guess Mothership Core must have been building up on energy here a little bit, but it doesn't have that much yet for Neeb to have a massive amount of overcharges. He's going to get rid of the Overseer and an Overlord nearby. The Nidus is already being surrounded, but there's no pylon nearby. He's going to try to go for the snipe on the Nidus.
Oh, he actually didn't target it the entire time there. I switched that up quite a bit. No pylons nearby either. Has to pull back this Mothership Core, and he'll stay alive for the time being behind his wall, but this is a good opening for Rogue.
Yeah, it's an all-in though. This has to work right here and right now. 44 walkers to 51. Rogue has to kill Neeb in the next minute or two as Neeb tries to gather a couple more Void Rays here. If you could overwhelm the Queens, then the rest of the army on the ground is going to die very rapidly. Neeb actually has a decent army here in terms of Stalkers and Adepts in the back. And Rogue, oh, he's actually going to do a slow version of this with drones being sent through the Nidus. And Spores going up. Did Neeb see it? Because if he saw it, he might just try and go for the fight. Yeah, he saw it.
Okay, well, he does see it, and down goes his Cybernetics Core. He is building another one, and he started that a while ago knowing it was going to die, so that's good. He doesn't have to make just Zealots now. But this is kind of tough. Like, we've seen Rogue adding a few drones at home. He's adding that Hydralisk Den now as well.
Rogue might just transition here. He has the Spores covering the rest of his army. The Queens as anti-air. He could just move the Spores forward, land Corrosive Bile forever, while he keeps on making more drones, maybe take one more base, but he's still going for Hydralisk. And he could just even finish as well. Just tunnel a couple of Hydralisks across the map through the Nidus.
Rogue right now, I love this kind of poking here behind the turtled position. It's like, come at me, you won't. Come on, you won't do it. Like, what is Neeb supposed to do here?
Oh, this is really smart. He starts a Nexus at the bottom side of the map. If he could actually recall probes and saturate that, that'd be great for Neeb. But he's still going to have to deal with this here. You can't evacuate your natural and main base, I think, against this. Because otherwise, you just die. Unless he recalls his entire army across the map and goes into a base trade. Which would be wide. Imagine he did that with the probes.
Stack all your probes and then walk your army in there.
That'd be so sick.
That would be really, really cool. But, okay, it looks like he's going to go forward right now. Oh, those Void Rays taking a bit of hull damage. Backing up for the time being.
Neeb is threatening in a way defensively with the force fields there, but Rogue has Ravagers to break those away, so he's still going to keep on spamming this Corrosive Bile, and which Neeb consistently needs to be active to make sure they don't land on top of his army, because if he starts using sentries here, Rogue might just A-move and kill him.
Well, I love the fact that he's getting Blink right now as well. He knows that his opponent is not going to have that many units overall, so Blink Stalkers definitely can be very effective, but just breaking out of this position is so tough for Neeb.
Yeah, I wonder actually how he will do this, like whether he just recalls a bunch of probes and then recalls back into the main, or if we see the army actually going across the map. The Oracles, I think he's trying to get a better idea of what exactly Rogue wants to follow up into, because Neeb right now must kind of be surprised that, you know, Rogue hasn't actually properly attacked into his natural. He's just kind of been sitting there and spamming Corrosive Bile.
Well, he's still scouting around a little bit. That third base on the way for Rogue. I love the fact that Neeb has his third up. He's getting gas from it already. He's just kind of chilling here, getting his Blink upgrade.
This is so sick. How is Rogue supposed to guess and see this? Like, really even scout for it, and when?
This is fantastic. Like, you really don't expect this.
This is a big move. These Lurkers, there's nothing to counter them. There's not even any detection.
Lurkers against Stalkers is one of the most brutal one-sided things in the game. That is going to be very, very hard for Neeb. His void rate's getting quite low here as well. Oh, God.
You know, he needs to start some oracles there. That's the only way. He starts a robo here to try and get some observer, but that's going to take so long. And Lurker shoots from so far. Rogue is going to keep on edging forward to try and finish. Does he need to evacuate here? I don't even...
I think he might. Like, you can't take down entrenched positions with Stalkers. Like, not like this.
Yeah. If he can force field and land the Revelation with the 2 oracles that he already had on the map, but these Lurkers are going to do so much damage. They see that Revelation here. If he can okay, he catches everything.
Okay,
Rogue is
out
standing
with some Stalkers here.
That's really good. Rogue is standing here with his army on top of the Lurkers, though, which makes it almost impossible to engage into. This Mothership Core dies, lands the last minute time warp.
Well, I mean, it slows everything down. And with this counterattack with the Stalkers, you might have to run some units through that Nidus to actually hold on.
Oh, this is sick. Yeah, this is going to force some units back. Neeb really trying to make the most of the situation, remaking the Mothership Core, which will come out with 50 energy. He could actually still recall outside elsewhere if he wanted to, still trying to defend on that location there. He might just give that base up. I feel like he has to. Maybe warp in sentries on top of the ramp, defend the main, and then counterattack across the map.
Yeah, that could work. Okay, he is going to go ahead and recall. Oh my God, Neeb is so going for it right now. A ballsy move here. He's going to lose this natural base, but Rogue is going to be caught unawares. Look at that. Just now figuring out what's going on.
And this army is still very scary. I don't believe there is any lurkers across the map. Rogue is going to send everything back home here to make sure he can defend against this and not die anytime soon. No force field is going to land on top of the ramp here early enough to prevent the army from going down it.
Oh my God, he actually gets on top of these lurkers, but the Lynx round comes in. Neeb has to back out, blinks down to the low ground here. With so many Lynx and lurkers, though, he's not going to be able to get too much done.
And Neeb cannot fight the lurkers, so he's going to fight the rest of the army, which actually Rogue is kind of throwing away a lot of his army here right now. Counter-attacking on that one base here down there. Neeb needs to use the mobility of his army, attack that third base of Rogue, go where the lurkers are not, and fight the rest of the army, because if he does that, he might be able to somehow find a way to win, but Rogue is so quick with the push and so good at splitting his units here.
The damage he's dealing is something that it's hard to imagine Neeb coming back from right now. He's very mobile on the map. He's being very creative, but Rogue's overall strategy, this push, is so hard to stop with the tech choice of Neeb.
It's almost as if Rogue has been watching In Control's remastered stream.
Oh my gosh.
Like lurkers everywhere.
The lurkers went right up that ramp, and look at them just wreck this Nexus. There's almost no probes left.
Oh, this is so sick here, what we're seeing from Rogue. What mind games, you know? Like it's really hard to go into a match against somebody like Rogue and tell yourself, like, he's going to play super aggressive, he's going to, you know, do one of those all-ins, but guess what? He does it, and it looks great.
Well, I mean, he's the best late-game Zerg in the world, so why not mix in a crazy two-base build here? Neeb unable to do anything. GG is finally called, and Rogue will pick up game one. A very strategic and interesting game. A situation that no doubt Rogue has dealt with far more times than Neeb. So he had more experience going in there, but I got to say, the flexibility of Neeb, the way he took that additional Nexus down at 6 o'clock, the recalls, he made great moves, but Rogue was just too rock solid.
It was just the transition that I think Neeb didn't see coming, and even I have to question the original Nidus. He didn't really read properly into. I think Neeb flew the first Oracle to the main base of Rogue. He saw that there was already a lair, but he didn't double check for a third hatchery on the north position from the natural of Rogue. So maybe, you know, in your mind, you're always like, all right, he's taking that, I don't even need to check. But no, actually Rogue was not. So in which case, usually you would want to cancel your Nexus, get more gates to have some counter-attacking capability or even defensive, which in this case just wasn't there. So it took forever for Neeb to attempt a breakout, which wasn't even there. He had to recall eventually, which is bad news.
Well, it was a really tough match right there. Tough first game for Neeb, but Rogue cannot do that strategy again. Because if Neeb knows what's going on with the flexibility he showed right there, I think that he would just crush that if he plays against that again. You know, like, the lurkers were really the nail in the coffin there for Neeb. He had such a tough time. He'd already chosen to go blink Stalkers, which I think was a fine choice. You know, if you try to go like charge versus that and they just keep making Roach Ravager Queen, you're never going to break out. So Rogue kind of using a bit of mind games and counter strategy there to take down that first game.
Rogue definitely did every time the one thing that Neeb was going to be the most in the most trouble against. It's like the Nidus counters 3 bases very nicely, and then like Neeb, I think if Rogue had gone for the all-in, I don't think it would have worked. Like most likely Neeb would have held. So it's like, what's next? Well, lurkers. Neeb's not gonna have enough to counter lurkers.
And then, so well done.
And then on and on with the Hydralisks being added on, and just enough units for Rogue. He didn't even overdrone behind this, didn't get over eager.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he spotted the counter-attack early as well. As the recall happened, he had an overload down there.
Yeah. Okay, well, the next map going to be Abyssal Reef. This should be a good one. In the top left, down a game, it's Neeb. And in the bottom right, winning game number 1, it's Rogue.
Neeb going for an early scout. We've seen a couple forges from him in the past and some cannon attempts. Would he try that against Rogue? That's a very good question. And Pig touched on the potential Swarm host as well that we can see from Rogue sometimes, which is insane.
That can be very good on this map.
He's a big fan of.
Yeah, it is quite good on this map here. The quick scout here by Neeb can allow him to go ahead and make a very quick Nexus now.
Yeah.
Seeing that it is hatchery first. And I kind of like this move by Neeb, I have to say. You know, to scout quickly your opponent and then be able to go for the Nexus first, because he's just like cutting every corner he really can without possibly sacrificing the game. If you just go blind Nexus first and he made a pool, well, you're probably dead unless you're hero, and then you'll lose like 1 probe and kill 10 lings and be fine.
But they still lose the series.
Yeah, somehow.
No, yeah, great start here. I think I like this for Neeb. Just adapting, scouting early.
I'm just glad
didn't get
we're
the block
seeing,
on the hatchery, but
yeah. I'm just glad we're seeing this map, because Abyssal gives us like the craziest big macro games for this matchup.
Yeah.
It's really hard for either side to kill the other. Like, there are some like force field based all-ins for Protoss, and I mean, if you're not one of the world's top Protosses, Baneling Hydra can kill you, but just generally speaking, it's hard to kill each other here. You get up to 4 bases really easily. The 5th and 6th aren't that hard.
Even you and I had a hard time killing each other on this map in the Casters tournament.
That is true. It's okay. I helped you out by killing myself that game. But Neeb, okay, see this placement? Like, when you see that, they're kind of declaring something as well. Walling that front ramp. Yeah. Neeb is saying, okay, I am taking 3 bases.
Oh,
like,
he's pretending to.
Oh, it could be. It could be the,
usually,
the intense mind games.
Neeb, though, like, he tried to play a double Stargate style, which was almost like blind counter last game. So does he go for something, again, kind of like that, with in mind that Rogue could expect something like that? Or does he mix in different builds this time around and less Stargate-based build orders? Like, obviously, you can just go 1 Stargate, couple oracles, and then go into ground or evolve into something else, some robo unit. But Stargate is kind of like still the flavor of the matchup that a lot of people will go back to a lot of the time. You know,
to be honest, like the multiple Stargate, lots of Oracle play has been good, but the one player that's really shown how to counter this well has been Rogue. You know, he's been going into Spire, just making some corruptors and controlling the game in that way.
Many different ways too. Like he's done different things against it, but every time he looked at he was always attacking, defending at the right time. Like, Rogue just seems on another level in terms of comprehending how to play in the matchup as of late.
It seems like he just knows the counter to everything at every point. And I do want to point out,
he's not unbeatable though. He did lose like a bunch
he
of
loses maps. I mean, you know, it's pretty hard to just not lose maps straight up. Maybe Innovation can do that from time to time, but no one else. Now, Rogue just got Overlord speed, and I think that this is important to point out, because this is something that whoever is the best Zerg in the world at the time, it's normally Dark or Rogue, will get Overlord speed early a lot. Because, you know, they just have to react correctly to be able to win the game. And Rogue, you know, did kind of the aggressive build in Game 1, didn't need that Overlord speed, but here he is on the macro map, making sure that he knows what Neeb is up to.
Especially on a map like this, where it's harder to spot the, the back of the mirror line and stuff. Like, Protoss can very easily hide stuff. And Rogue knew that, in this case, Neeb had gone for a quick Nexus and stuff, which sometimes even encourages you to play even more aggressive, because you're already kind of being greedy in the start. But yeah, I like this a lot here. Rogue, he's going to be able to see everything he wants to see, and then from there adjust, which is so good at. Again, like we just talked about how he reacts properly to everything, knows most of the counters. If this guy can know what's going on, he's always going to do well.
Well, he's still got some good scouting going on. The second Oracle has popped out. This is a very standard style from Neeb, kind of the main thing that we were watching Protoss players do previous to the mass Oracle play. And with these Adepts coming out, Neeb is very good at this type of harassment.
Yeah. Is Rogue ready on the ground here? He has enough against the Oracles with the Queens and Spores, but the Adepts, is he ready for those Just 14 Zerglings here right now against 7 Adepts. It's really not that much.
Oh, wow. He doesn't finish his shade there. And Neeb choosing to be very, very cautious with his units. And at home, adding 2 Stargates right now. So is going to go into that Sky Toss play.
Neeb not afraid to play with more Stargate units here. Already knowing that Rogue's up on 3 bases here. Is he going to cancel that? I think he should, right? Yeah, he sees the amount of links as well. That would be suicide. He's just kind of threatening and trying to force Rogue to make more units right now. And then Neeb, essentially, he should be pulling back very soon here with these Adepts. Rogue's trying to go for a surround right now on the Adepts as the Oracles are the ones harassing drones.
Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get that for the moment. More Oracles on the way. That 3rd base is going up. And as long as Neeb kind of keeps Rogue on his back foot here, he's in good shape. You know, he's able to get his probe count up at that 3rd base, get those Oracles out, and eventually he's going to want to take that 4th and probably go into carriers from there.
And then Rogue gets the news here that he's triple Stargate. Let's see how he reacts. I think he just...
Oh, I love this. I love this. The moment he scouts this triple Stargate play and the Void Ray kills it, he goes double Forge.
Yeah.
The very second. So this is one of the many ways you can actually transition as Protoss. If your opponent is, like for instance, if we see Rogue actually commit to Corruptors, it's like, yeah, okay, these Oracles aren't as useful, but you can go into Blink or Charge from here, and your verse ground damage output is insane. Corruptors are not going to help you there.
And Neeb knows that Rogue is very capable of doing that transition as well. We've seen that before from him, so might be a bit of a step ahead here. Rogue definitely has a lot of options, though. I think he made the Baning Nest earlier. I don't think he cancelled that. Roach one, I know he did cancel.
It seems
the Roach one is already there.
It seems like he's, with that ranged attack upgrade coming in, it seems like he's just kind of hedging all of his bets. He's trying to be kind of careful here and make sure he doesn't get caught off guard with the transition. I'm excited to see what he makes once this Spire is done, though. Like, does he go Corruptors? How many Corruptors if he does?
I think you can't go Mutas. I think it has to be Corruptors against triple Stargate. Like,
it's,
some players will make it work sometimes.
Well,
but,
if your opponent doesn't make the Phoenixes, because the thing is, once you scout the Spire, you're supposed to make some Phoenixes, because if they do go Mutas, you're in trouble.
Wow. And he's going to spot the Spire as well.
Yeah.
Neeb could attack that. He doesn't want to lose more Oracles, so he's just going to pull back, but he did spot that Spire there, and already Artosis look at the supply here. Neeb starting to pull ahead, doing some damage left and right. Not always, like, not a huge amount of damage at once, but slow and steady damage. Killing 3 drones here, 3 drones there, and it's starting to add up here.
But look at this, right? The 1-1 is on the way. Blink is coming in as well. So Neeb's transition is going on, whereas 9 Corruptors, now 11 Corruptors being made. So, yeah, 11 Corruptors definitely beats, like, 7 Oracles. But, like, what else do they do?
Not much. When they try to snipe a Nexus, Stalkers will be there and say, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
And Neeb already going up into a 4th base there. Just in a fantastic position, I feel like, in this game. Rogue is definitely going to have to make something special happen this game for him to come back in it.
Well, in this situation, okay, the Stalker's going to be warped in, so Rogue's starting to figure out kind of what's going on. That's enough gateways that you can kind of question, is he doing that transition back?
He starts 5 Overlords and 8 more Roaches. So Rogue has already made a good amount of Corruptors. He's going to stay on that and I think go full ground and maybe try and bust Neeb.
Is he? I don't think he's really going to be able to. Like, I guess when you play against someone who's going Blink Stalker, if you go for, like, Ravager, Roach, Ling, that can be very efficient. Even Banelings can be a bit helpful there, but look at the amount of Stasis Wards.
Oh my God. And he's standing there as well, so it's not like, you know, a couple Lings can go in there and trigger those.
Yeah.
It's going to be so hard for Rogue to break this. If he goes for the attack, Queen's already across the map here. He's trying to threaten with Corruptors here onto that Nexus to keep some Stalkers in that location, but 2-2 is on the way, and there is a timer on Rogue here right now who needs to make something happen because he's just in a terrible position. Walker counts 75 to 61.
Well, already with these Stasis Wards, this is not working at all for Rogue. Neeb with a beautiful defense so far. Those Stasis Wards worth their weight in gold.
This is like a giant force field right there as well that blocks his own army. Like,
look at Rogue sit there behind all this. He has to wait for all these units to come out, and then there's even more behind.
Yeah, there's more where that came from here.
Now the Corruptors are flying up to the natural. He might actually be able to snipe a Nexus during all this. Oh, God, yeah, you know what? He's going to get that Nexus 100%. The Oracles, though, going to come in and help Neeb to clean out this main army.
Yeah, Neeb loses the Nexus, but army-wise, he did all right there. Trapping still a lot of this army. He's going on the chase a little bit. A couple of these links will finally be freed here in a second.
Oh, we're going to try to sandwich these Stalkers right now. Of course, he does have a Blink cooldown, so he can get out of there. Blinks back towards that Nexus with the overcharge, and Rogue has to turn around. But I got to tell you, I loved the transition of Neeb and how he's played this game. But Rogue, using the versatility of these Corruptors to kill that Nexus was a great move.
Yeah, he definitely needed to make something like that happen, and I mean, it's nice that he got a Nexus, but Neeb can just remake that. He didn't lose any walkers. He's up to 7-6 against 64, 2-2's about to finish. Well, Rogue, I feel like he has to go into desperation mode here, go into Banelings with centrifugal hooks, and somehow, I don't know, do some sort of Baneling drop.
Well, this is actually a pretty good counter to upgrades. You know, with the 2-2 finishing up, 3-3 on the way here, you're not really going to beat this with like +1 roaches, right? Like, you just don't have any chance there.
Or +2 roaches.
No, the +2 roaches are going to have a hard time too. Hey, 2-1 roaches might even have a hard time against 2-2 Blink Stalkers. But when you add Banelings into the mix, you make a bunch of those, you can deal a lot of damage very suddenly. And if the Blink is not on cooldown for the Stalkers, you can do massive, massive damage.
And usually the dream here for the Zerg is to do Baneling drops inside of multiple mineral lines at once, somehow blow up 20+ probes, in which case for Protoss it's very hard to replenish those and keep on expanding and all that. And then you force Protoss to make a desperate attack on creep, and then you crush his army with Banelings and whatever Roach Ravager you got on top of that. But if I look at both armies right now, Neeb's is so much scarier. He's got sentries, he's got a ton of Stalkers.
Yeah. You're right, it is scarier, but if you would, Todd, be so kind as to look at that supply. I mean, the probe count is extremely high, right? So as Rogue is maxing out and making more and more Banelings for their supply costs are the strongest unit in the game. So if he attacks with a super massive Banelings, his army is actually more dangerous for a moment.
Yeah. I guess on creep, Rogue is advantage a little bit, but Neeb is just so good that I expect him to stay patient.
Yeah.
Really nice job by Rogue, by the way, of, I think, replanning some of these creep tumors here, because I think Neeb was trying to push that. So Rogue kind of prevented it. He was like, okay, well, if I let all these creep die, eventually he's going to attack and kill me. But all of these Oracles as well, they could even, like, mid-fight, you know, go into the opponent's army, start killing stuff, drop down stasis wards, and with 3-3 about to finish, Neeb's feeling comfortable in this game. He's got his 5th base up. That's about to be hit by some Zerglings, actually, and he's going to go into a Mothership here.
Yeah, the Mothership, of course, great tech in that late game. The Ling's doing a lot of damage here. Baneling's actually getting through a little hole in that force field wall, but that's not the damage he was looking for.
Wow, these Lings doing a lot here. 9 probes plus a Nexus, not bad here by Rogue, but sometimes you need to be careful what you wish for with these attacks, because Protoss can replenish that worker count in army and build up an even bigger army. I mean, Rogue, it feels like he's countering the Stalkers well, but whatever is going to be added on top of the Stalkers, in this case with the High Templars and the Mothership, that is going to have a much harder time countering.
And we just saw a 13-minute 3-3 in PvZ. That is not something that you really ever see.
What is this, like Creators Wings of Liberty
against Terran? Yeah. that is what we're basically watching here. It's pretty crazy upgrades. But this is a mostly Stalker army, so there are things that Rogue can try to do against his Banelings. Rolling in once again, some good blinks here, trying to spread out his Stalkers enough so that the Banelings won't do massive damage. Looks like he gets some of them. Not too much there. Another push coming in here from Neeb. He is starting to lose quite a few here. Blinks forward on top of these Ravagers and picking off quite a few. The drone's starting to get pulled. Is Neeb going to be able to do it here? Is he going to kill Rogue? Looks like he brings in the Oracles, but they are going to end up falling here to these Corruptors. More and more Stalkers coming in right now. You said that we were watching Wings of Liberty. I think you might be right with the amount of Stalkers I'm watching.
Where's the contorted then?
Oh my God.
Rogue is probably like, what the hell? Mothership kind of out of nowhere? That guy's got a fleet beacon. I mean, Neeb still has got the economy. He's got the worker lead, and it's looking like these Stalkers are still pretty darn strong here in this game.
He just now gets that detection as well. Trying so hard right now is Rogue to hold on, but it looks like Neeb should be able to finish him here. More and more Stalkers flooding in that 4th base of Rogue under attack, while Neeb is on 5 bases with better upgrades. And I do not think Rogue is going to be able to hold here. Finally get some Mothership core, but is that enough?
Probably not. No, there's still so many Stalkers left over and just too much DPS autosis.
Oh my God, seriously a lot. GG is called, and Neeb ties it up against the world's best Zerg. We're going to see map 3.
Yeah, great job here by Neeb. Really solid all around this time. And I don't know, like it feels like if the game can go normally, you know, if you can play with some oracles, some adepts here and there, keep Rogue on the low walker count early on, he's gonna do great pretty much all the time. He really, that double forward transition though,
that was
I wonder
great.
what the game would have looked like if he hadn't gone for that, because I feel like he was still doing pretty well, but that definitely was super smart because there wasn't even any follow-up scout from Rogue. He saw the triple target, he's like, all right, you're going mass air and that's it. No, actually, Neeb is super smart.
And the thing is, Rogue reacted reasonably well, right? He tried to get into some tech against, he utilized his corruptors that were not that useful considering he was playing against Blinkstalker, right? Like Blinkstalker's pretty good against corruptor tech. And got that Nexus. He made it a competitive game at least.
By the way, these corruptors were beasts. Like they dealt with the air, they killed the Nexus, and even at the end they chipped away at the mothership. They're like, hello team, can we get some help?
Well, those other Zerg units having a hard time against the ludicrous upgrades of Neeb. 3-3 is just so massive, and you know, that's going to be something that Rogue does not play against all that often. Like, I mean, normally you're sitting on one forge for a while. You know, it's pretty rare to see someone max out and have 3-3 this early in a PvZ. So, the third game coming up. Neeb against Rogue. Spread the word and hashtag WCS. This is the World Championship Series Grand Finals. 5 days of insane StarCraft 2 action. All right, our last map, Mech Depot in the top right. Our blue Protoss, it is Neeb. See how focused he is right there. In the bottom left, the best Zerg from Korea, it's Rogue.
Our third map, Mech Depot here. I've seen Neeb do a bunch of cannon rushes in the past, but it looks like already here he's going to be playing quite a bit differently. A gas early on. Going to be followed up by a gateway here. How do you like this build order, Autos?
Gas into gateway. I'm not. You know what? Is this one of those mothership core builds that we see sometimes out of SOS or Hero, where you're trying to get the third base, like the third hatch, because Zerg takes it pretty quickly?
Yeah, you don't have usually to take the gas that early.
Yeah,
like,
I wouldn't think so.
When you go for that, I thought you were.
What do you think?
For some reason, I thought about like the one game, the one replay I saw a few of Wings of Liberty beta, where you lost to a mothership on one base when you picked it. I don't know why the.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I forgot about that. There's like 1 million views on YouTube.
I think Neeb, like taking the gas early, like we shouldn't, you know, read into it that much. Like usually, you can still go for Nexus and then go into a quick Stargate, like a quicker Stargate than you would otherwise, right? Because with the usual other build order that you would go into, you know, it'd be like Gateway, Gas, Nexus, Core. Then you wouldn't have as much gas as now. So then your Stargate will be way later, especially if you go into Mothership Core. But yeah, like it's...
But I mean, normally you go Adept, Stargate, and the Stargate's a few seconds later here. I guess with this, he can get a quicker Warp Gate upgrade as well if he's going for that tech. I mean, maybe this is an Archon drop that he's going for on this map as well. That is a possibility. I'm really a bit unsure. I mean, gas first build.
Look how quick he's saturating the second gas. Yeah, these 3 probes, they were here already on location. Neeb already up to 156 gas. It's going to stop Warp Gate and Adept.
This makes a little bit more sense that he's getting his Warp Gate right off the bat because, you know, the Stargate builds are pretty figured out. So what else is he doing with all this gas right now?
The second gateway is going to go down, and still Neeb has a lot of gas here. He could start a Stargate if he wanted to. Could start Mothership Core, and yeah, there it is, the Stargates.
Okay.
That I thought he might go for. And which is going to be pretty early. He's already going to have the gas to go into whatever he wants, you know, a bunch of oracles very quickly that he can chrono boost as well. Usually, like, the thing about this build is that you prioritize minerals a little bit less, but it's not the end of the world. You still get your Nexus very easily. Then you catch up. Like, I mean, you're still ahead on the worker count, right? And your Stargate units, I mean, your Stargate and your Stargate units are going to be there a little bit earlier, in which case you can sometimes catch the Zerg off guard, right?
That's not the case this time, though, because he got the Warp Gate before the Stargate.
Yeah.
So it's actually going to be a later Oracle if it's an Oracle.
Yeah, but then he's going to be earlier Adepts that he can synergize.
Yeah, that is true.
With the Oracle, and we saw...
And with the two gates, like I guess that's more Adepts earlier on.
That would be playing to his image as well. Remember what he did last game? He went forward with double Oracle and 7 Adepts. What did he do? He was faking it. He was trying to make Rogue make more units. What if this time he shades, but he actually doesn't cancel the shade, and Rogue thinks he's going to cancel it?
It's also a good point that on the Abyssal game, the Lings that Rogue was using defensively were hatched at exactly the right time to defend against regular Adept timings with Oracles, right? So these Adepts coming out slightly earlier, you know, you can mess up a Zerg sometimes with something like this.
Let's see.
So now that you and I have guessed every possibility, I'm like, what have we missed here? Void Ray Rush. Yeah, okay, so it could be a Void Ray Rush. Okay, I think we're done. He's going 2 base size Storm Drop. Yeah. All right, Oracle on the way. A good amount of Adepts out here, keeping some pressure on.
Actually, Rogue, he's forced to make so many Zerglings there. And Neeb, every single time he pulls back just on time. I don't want to jinx it, right? I feel like the one moment I say that, he's going to start losing Adepts left and right. But no, he's getting to a good amount of Adepts there. One more Oracle being added on, and this is going to be a super sick attack. Like, as much as there is an Overlord there, I'm not sure that Rogue is respecting this enough. Like, sure, he has 37 walkers, but he needs to make way more units. He's getting more queens, but he's still droning up.
Yeah, 15 Lings, last time I checked, don't beat 8 Adepts, so...
I guess with queens, maybe they do. And if they catch them on the map.
Yeah, well, if they catch just 4 of them and surround them, that can work out as well. All right, so he picks off 3 of them right there, but nice Oracle Micro coming out of Neeb. Going to pick off quite a few Lings as they push him back. The Queen's coming down, getting ready for a fight. They would never back down from one of those.
Oh my god. Puntosis.
All right, we have a shade up towards that main base. It does get canceled here. Neeb keeping that pressure on, adding a couple Stargates as well. So we're going to have to see if Rogue once again wants to go directly into that Spire play.
Oh, does he transfer this time? There's a lot of Lings next to the Adept, so he's going to let them transfer forward. They still... Oh, they get surrounded. Actually, Oracle's going to come into the rescue here to try and actually pick up some of these drones there. They do get some. And Neeb knows that he's forced a lot of units there in the meantime. And that the walker count of Rogue is not going to be as high as he would like it to right now. But still more Oracles being made out of the one Stargate. And it looks like we might be seeing mass Oracles here. Does he do the double forge transition? Might be smart not to here.
I don't know, because he's shown that one time. And I think that, you know, Rogue is taking information really quickly while he's playing against Neeb. So it's hard to say. Like, I would say 100% we'll see a Spire added. And 100% we'll see some amount of flying units made once that Spire finishes. But does he do anything else, like, you know, maybe add a second Evolution Chamber, try to keep up? Does he send in a second Overlord? I haven't... Is there even, like, a Void Ray to push everything back?
No, it's just a Mothership and 2 Adepts. I mean, usually Neeb is pretty good defensively, so you would have to make sure that it's actually going to work if you do one of those attacks. There is a chance Rogue even does Bane Hydra. Like, I mean, it's still a thing, right? Like, he's already going into... upgraded Zerglings.
But if you go Bane Hydra and your opponent keeps making Oracles, it's kind of hard. And, okay, he adds the Hydralisk Den. We'll see what he does with this. The double Forge is being made. A little bit of Zergling harassment being tried, but not really finding any damage here.
Usually, one of the downsides of double Forge is that for a short moment, you will have a few less units, but it's just so short that it makes it very difficult for the Zerg to know about that timing and to hit it. I mean, upgrades are still pretty cheap, and once they kick in as well, those gateway units get an insane buff. But, I mean, we talked about how Banelings can be good against upgraded units because this Ground Armor upgrade will not come into play. Nice cancel here, actually, on that 4th base here. I mean, if you can be on 3 bases as a Protoss against a 3-base Zerg, usually you're doing something right.
Another pylon wall is forced out of Neeb here as Rogue hits that counterattack once again. Not really gaining a whole lot from this because Neeb is so on top of things, but the first time he's not, Rogue will get a ton of damage done.
Yeah, Rogue is... I like that he's being as active as he is here, really trying to find a mistake in Neeb. I mean, if these Lings run by one single time, he will be in so much trouble. I think the double Forge was spotted there. It's going to be into Blink again. But I mean, cool to mix in something different, maybe Charge Loss and High Templars. But then again, if you get to play against Hydralisk Bane and then the opponent attacks really hard into you, it's still going to be really tough to counter. Infestation Pit, man. The Swarm Hosts, we didn't see them on Abyssal Reef.
I don't think we're going to see Swarm Hosts, to be honest. Like, I think that the mobility of Neeb is a little bit too high to go Swarm Host in this situation. I feel like he might be going for Fungal. It is a possibility. Or,
the bases
I mean, he could go up to Hive,
though.
but what would he want out of Hive? Like, I guess you can rush into, like, Ultra. Ultra would kind of counter all those Stalkers, but he only has 1 Evo. He's getting ranged attack. It doesn't seem to make too much sense to me.
Yeah, Vipers usually don't make much sense either.
No.
So usually, it's either going to be Infestors or Swarm Hosts. And, yeah, you were right. Right on the money, Artosis. Good job.
Well,
Whatever happened to Pathogen Glance? Is that upgrade still in the game?
It is still in the game, actually, but Zergs don't get it. They don't like
I have to wait for it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I need these right away.
One day will be like this with like Storm. We won't get it. We just use item plus for feedback. We're like Storm takes too long.
I do that a lot, although I mean to get Storm and I don't have it. And then I like feedback 2 things. I'm like, oh, and I lose. So 1-1 finishing up. Blink is going to be done here pretty quickly as well. +1 range going to be finishing. No Fungals will be ready quite yet, but Hydras are on the way. Huge amount of stasis wards out in the map also.
Actually, I think this is really smart. If you picture the fight, Fungals landing on Blink Stalkers and Sentries potentially. Corrosive by landing as well. I mean, these Stalkers could die really quick regardless of the res, and then Banelings might come in for the cleanup as well.
Yeah, I mean, you hit a Fungal on those Stalkers, and they'll die so quickly to this Hydra attack. And he did get the +1, so that is going to help out quite a bit. But Neeb immediately into 2-2, getting that Templar Archives, and going for the Mothership as well.
Actually, it seems like Rogue has no intention to even go for Ravagers. He's just like a bunch of Hydralisks in the back doing the damage. And we see Templar Archives plus the Fleet Beacon here being added on from Neeb. So Mothership plus Storm definitely going to be in the plans. Well, and I'm glad we get to see a longer game here, because it feels like for a long time, you know, they're kind of going to judge each other's army, seize each other up, and then try and, you know, build the perfect army, basically, to beat the opponent.
Exactly. This is one of the very beautiful things, in my opinion, about StarCraft 2. Oh, he finally gets the run by. This is actually doing okay. You know, that's definitely worth it for the Lings, and it's keeping Neeb busy. But this is one of the really beautiful things, in my opinion, Todd. I'd like to hear your input on this. But, like, in StarCraft 2, when you get 2 super high-level players like Neeb and Rogue, sometimes you'll see a game like this where they counter each other in slight ways, like 5-6 times, and eventually they're just like basically maxed out with just tiny amounts of damage into each other because they both played so strategically well, there's nothing to do. Like, you can't attack your opponent and he can't attack you because you're both too smart.
Yeah, and then you have to adapt on the fly. Yeah, I love this kind of game as well. I love the longer games. Like, I mean, sure, like one punch knockouts can look impressive and be fun, but I like slow, methodical chess matches as well, Artosis. Yeah. I'm sure you do too.
Oh, you know, that's the only way I like the game. I hate those chasers. All right, so some carriers being added, and he's trading off a few Stalkers here and there. Once you actually hit max supply and like the supreme late game of PvZ, Stalkers are not a unit you want in your army. They just really don't carry a ton of value. So I like that he's still being super active while trading in, trying to get some better units.
Still a Zergling run by attempt here. There's one Stalker in position, so not going to happen. And Rogue, as much as I've seen him play some very impressive games against carriers in the past, it feels like it's not going to be one of those like where he hard counters it. You know, he does all the right attacks, all the right damage, and then finishes off a Protoss who's on a low carrier count. No, he's even going Ultras right now, which don't counter carriers too well.
No, they don't. But they're pretty darn good against Sentry Stalker, which is what he keeps running into. So I kind of understand it in a way. Definitely is going to maintain this kind of map control for him. His creep spread's starting to get very good as well. He is up on 5 bases, while Neeb just on 4. But Neeb having all the time in the world to get all these upgrades up and finish his carriers.
You know what really surprises me? Neeb on his natural, he didn't make an extra pylon to make sure that he could wall off even more easily, or even cannons on his natural. Because, I mean, Rogue keeps on trying to do the same run by, but Neeb, it feels like he's trying to prove a point. He's like, I will show you that this does not work.
Forever.
When I'm done with you, you will never try to run by links ever again, Rogue.
He's setting him up because he knows he's going to play him in the finals or something like that. He's like, no, this is destiny.
More upgrades coming in from both players. +2 Carapace, +3 melee here from Rogue, who's going to a Great Aspire. We might have a split map here in a moment on Mech Depot, man. It's...
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, this is definitely one of those really big maps that we see this type of game on, where it just goes super, super late because both sides have a ton of income from all these bases. Now, Rogue, he's marauding around a little bit. He's got a very strong army here. It definitely counters the ground units that we see from Neeb, but Neeb's still trading those in, trying to get better and better units in his army.
This is super smart. Like you mentioned, how the Stalkers, as time passes by, are going to become more and more useless in a big army. So Neeb is finding the right way to sack them while still doing damage and bringing some of the army of Rogue out of position so that he can posture forward here with his massive army, including High Templars that are very threatening against these Infestors plus Hydralisks.
I'm loving it. Oh, look, it's Pathogen Glands, your favorite upgrade. On the way right now for Rogue. You know, this is hitting the point. We even see the second Spire being made. where these guys realize it's going super long. They're not likely to kill each other anytime soon. So they should be getting every single upgrade that they can.
And they will. Air upgrades, Graviton, Catapult being started. He's swapping your Sentry. What on earth?
Well, you
Guardian
need,
Shield?
Yeah, you need one Guardian Shield.
One Guardian Shield.
One Guardian Shield. You know, it's like a funny thing. Like, max carriers are very good, but max carriers with one Sentry is even better.
The catalyst in the army.
+2 armor is a pretty good thing for 2 supply and 100 gas. So the carrier's still popping out right now. This army is getting so scary.
I mean, the dream for both players is that the opponent attacks into you, because then for the Protoss, obviously you're off creep. For the Zerg, you're on creep if the Protoss attacks into you. But that's why they're both going to be super patient usually. Come on, make some cannons, man. You prove your point. On the natural.
Well, there's that Sentry anyways, using it for the force field at that wall. The Stalkers might be able to force this cancel. Very nicely done. Actually kill that hatchery right off. Of course, they will be cleaned, but that's about as much value as he can get out of them at the moment. More carriers being started during all this. Oh, he's going to wreck those.
Good try, Rogue.
Yeah, I love the little burrows, too.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
With the Banelings earlier. Rogue's setting up to try and sack some of his Baneling slings and maybe even Ultra here on one of those bases of Neeb to try and do some economic damage. Like I said, like...
That might be a Nexus killer right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just like run in and right-click with all those units on a Nexus. That Nexus isn't going to live.
I mean, Neeb reacts so fast. I mean, okay,
well, this one's going to live. Never mind.
What is this? Remastered?
Oh my gosh. That is a lot of cannons.
Neural Parasite just completed. And Neeb usually, like from this position, he'll be sacking some of his ground slowly and slowly up until he builds a massive carrier army that's quote-unquote unbeatable. However, top Zergs definitely here and there have been able to beat it at times, but
specifically Rogue has been able to beat this at times. Like he uses, you know, Vipers and Infestors really,
and lots of
really
spores
well.
usually, right?
Yeah,
you need static defense. Just pure army as Zerg is going to be really hard to pull off. Neeb with a slow reaction here, going to lose a bunch of probes. This is actually, like, he doesn't have that much of an economy just yet that he might have to replenish these probes, so that makes it very annoying for him, because then he reaches his ideal army count and upgrades and all that a little bit slower. Like you need to have a high economy for a long time and already have a bank to justify being able to lose these walkers.
Well, he's rebuilding those workers pretty quickly since he has 5 Nexuses. Some Lings running in. Yeah. Stasis wards forever. Stasis wards for days, saving these high
tasteless wards.
Tasteless wards. They lie in wait. All right, so Rogue gonna move with a little strike force up here, see if he can catch anything at all. But Rogue is going to have to trade in units too.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Adding 5 Void Rays, we know they are great against Corruptors, without which it's very hard to counter a mass area like this. But with the amount of Archons, it's very discouraging. Okay, here we go. Ultra's going to tank the cannon damage at the front. That's a lot of static defense dying there, actually, with a follow-up attack here from Rogue. He might be able to force a remake of all this static defense, and a nice little Hydra is run by elsewhere in the meantime.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit, but Neeb is a little bit of everywhere, so he's going to be able to clean this one up without taking any damage over there. His economy's staying together, still maxed out, continuing to get these upgrades, but the thing is, like, Rogue has to make moves like this, right? He has to be trading in some units. A Hydralisk-based army can't do anything against maxed out Protoss. Like, you just get stormed completely to death. Even the carriers kill you at that point. So he's starting to get some of these Corruptors out. He's going to need some more Spellcasters as well. Of course, the second Cybernex core is up. Dark Shrine on the way.
Yeah, I love the late game Dark Shrine like this, especially because Rogue's standing a lot of units there to try and break that base, do some economic damage here in that location.
Do you think he'll get DT Blink?
No.
I think you're right. I think you're right. He doesn't
what if he gets it? It's like so sick.
I want to see it. You blink 1 DT, you save 1 DT, and it's paid for itself. It's cheap.
Save 1 DT, save the game.
Huh. Save the date.
You know what's crazy? Neeb made Void Race even before Rogue made Corruptors.
Yeah.
Like, he knew the whole time. He's like, yeah, you can't. There's no way you're going to be able to counter this army without any Corruptors. So he made Void Race earlier than Rogue. He knew before Rogue did.
You know, the one big thing Rogue is missing right now is Vipers. We really, I feel like, need to see some of those pretty soon here. Oh my God. The Baneling lived.
Oh! It worked!
Oh, man. But look, he is going to need some some Vipers here eventually, I think. You know, the Parasitic Bomb can be very useful against Void Rays. Just tagging, abducting things, bringing them into your army is very important. You know, at this point in the game, you're normally going to have 2 Oracles as Protoss tagging the Zerg, but when those tags come out, you can pull in the Oracles, and, you know, that seems like a small thing, but over time, it actually matters. We see a lot of games in this position go till someone runs out of gas.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, a lot of people out there will think, like, you know, well, especially Zergs, they'll be like, oh, but he already has High Templar, Sartosis, he's just going to feedback. Well, it's not that easy, right? A good Zerg like Rogue will stay in the back with his Vipers. He will just go enough forward to land those very important abducts or Parasitic Bomb. And look, there it is. Ask and you shall receive 3 Vipers in the production tab.
Yeah, throwing in some Broodlords as well. And I really do like to see those Broodlords popping out. Those really help to actually zone those High Templars, which zone out the Vipers. So we're going to see a lot of zoning coming up here, football fans.
The Spores are there, and they're very good at zoning as well.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be InControl's favorite yet. Look at this drop harassment. Even picks up those Banelings again. Just such good play. But the Archon comes up. No!
Oh my.
13 probes!
So sick. Neeb didn't even look anymore. He probably thought like the Banelings were gone, like they were on the ground and they had died. No, they were loaded up in the Overlords. One of them sneaks in and...
Dude, he's down to 37 workers. Is he gonna... He maxed with 40 workers.
I think he's just... Yeah,
you know what that means? His army supply is just crazy.
Oh, I'm looking on Tosis. 157 to 142.
Oh my god, their armies are so good.
But the one thing still applies where Zerg off creep is not as strong and Protoss attacking on creep is not as strong, so it's still going to be a little bit of a waiting game, but...
Don't you tell this army it's not as strong as anything, Todd. All right?
I mean, against this many Spores, right? You start losing Corruptors, they're going to get fungled as well. You want to be as cost effective as you can here. He's trying to catch one of these carriers there.
Oh, gets a pick off. Very nice kill. Not really losing too much so far here for Rogue. Neeb gonna have to refill his probe count a little bit. His bank is not that high. Look at this. He has a ton of gas, but his mineral count is tiny.
Refill his probe count. This is America. You get a free refill.
Yeah, well, with every 5th probe that dies, you get a free one out of a new Nexus.
Make Protoss great again.
Look at that Nexus. Oh, I
just
love
for
that
recall
Nexus.
down there.
Yes.
A stealth recall.
That is so handsome.
That is so sick.
Oh, is there a pylon there too?
Zerg's not going to have the speed to move back down there if you pull them out of position all the way at the top.
Totally.
That is so smart.
Oh my god. Neeb changing everything. Just putting Nexuses down. He says, you know what? The map is so big. That's good for Zerg. You know who else is good for? Nexus recalls.
He's trying to pull him all the way at the... I mean, 2 Ultras. I'm not going to counter 2 Immortals and 4 Archons. So he's trying to pull Rogue's army at the bottom, in which case he will attack at the top, and then he will recall at the bottom again.
Oh my god, this is amazing. Neeb getting ready to play Rogue like a fiddle here.
But Rogue so far reacting all right. He bought some time with the Ultras at the bottom, sent some Hydralisks cleaned up. Neeb can keep on doing that up until the point Rogue makes a mistake, but Rogue finds it.
Looks like there's not even any minerals here. Why is this guy up again?
What a detective, man.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, the carriers. Oh, my God.
Yeah, this can be a little bit tough, but the High Templars do come in, and that's enough to push back the Corruptors for now.
Not so fast, air units. Send them back in
Get away from our carriers! That was a very quick recall right there. So
it feels like Neeb's making a lot of Archons, by the way. 5 more?
Well, that's because his gas bank was just crazy. Remember this?
Yeah.
Because he lost so many probes.
But in terms of ideal army to counter the army of Rogue, I guess there isn't that many Broodlords that making a ton of Archons will be that useless.
It's quite true, and he doesn't have any Tempests really to counter the Broodlords, though. Yeah. So if more Broodlords are made, like Archons are one of the worst units against Broodlords.
But in synergy with the rest of the army, they still do a pretty darn good job, especially in covering the carriers from the Corruptors. That's what you want. These are the bodyguards of the carriers and the Protoss army. Recall with just some of the carriers and some Archons here to defend against these links. That means some of the units who are left at the top here for Neeb. Both players are all over the place. With just a couple units here and there, in particular from Rogue, who's been doing a fantastic job.
You know that to and fro we were talking about before, where both players were countering each other lightly throughout the game to get to the late game? We're seeing that again right now. We're seeing Neeb go into some of these kind of ground-based units. He's making, you know, he has a few Zealots mixed in here. He has some extra Archons. Now we're starting to see some Ultras pop out right now. You know, he's a little bit scared of maybe over-making Broodlords at this point. So some really cool countering going on, and Neeb hitting in multiple locations here. Hitting at the south once again, going towards the north with his main army.
Going to the north and the south.
The north and the south. See, this is his shield, and the top one is his sword.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to make you feel at home right now.
Yeah, good job. Neeb is one plasma shield upgrade away from having all of the upgrades from the Forge and the Cybercore. So it's going to be well upgraded for the rest of the game. Rogue is just missing the missile and air weapons.
Still no DT blink. Just got to throw that out there. No Phoenix range either. No Adept Glaives. I mean, who is this amateur?
What is this, amateur hour?
Yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh. All right, a bunch of Ultras hitting this bottom expansion. Should be able to take that out pretty easily.
There's no Overseer.
No, yeah, I would like to see that. Warps and High Templars.
They would have gotten cleaved.
Yeah, they would have killed everything right there.
Oh, there we go.
All right, well, Warps one in. Maybe just a little bit of a misclick there. Just like an instant warp.
Yeah. You talk about gas, and actually a lot of players are starting to, spend a little bit more gas offensively. Here we go, big attack from Neeb, who noticed the army of Rogue was out of position. He's going to take out that base, and a lot of the static defense that's there.
Oh my man, God, the DT's just shracking through these Ultras so quickly. They're going to run up towards the cannons and probably end up dying there as well.
Fungal landed on the Protoss army, but I mean, Plasma Shields about to be level 3, like this can regenerate very quickly. He's going to come in from behind. Abduct on the mothership. Recall might be forced here. And no, he snipes that. That means that this army is going to be trapped there.
Oh, this is fantastic. He's starting to pick off a lot of these carriers right now. Neeb is maybe trapped behind the enemy lines. Still has those Psy Storms. Very, very important here. There were the Broodlords, but he actually didn't bring them up to try to hit the Archons or the High Templars.
I mean, it's... Sometimes the Protoss is not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with him.
Yeah.
So if you come in from behind with your entire army and not the static defense and off creep, it can backfire really quickly. Yeah. You might want to be careful. The gas bank of both players has been spent here, essentially. 150 army supply to 134.
Well, at this point in the game as well, you start to see, as the gas does get spent out, like a lot of Zergling harassment around the map, a lot of Zealots starting to get warped in, this type of thing, to try to utilize those minerals in a good way.
Look at how equal the resources lost are.
Wow.
Rogue has lost a little bit more, but I think it's mostly in minerals.
His efficiency is crazy. Yeah. Look at that.
That is a lot of units that died already, and there's a lot more to come here.
94 probes so far.
22 cannons died.
Ouch. All right, so the Archons look like they are going to get caught, but
will they?
Maybe not. No, actually, the Lings and Ultras that surrounded them got caught with the Archons. Oh my God! And the Archon stays alive. Good micro right there.
So sick.
Well, don't worry, he has 3 armor on that 10 health. Now Neeb moving towards his top location again.
Without a
Neeb
mothership,
might be able to take this
without a mothership.
Yeah,
that's scary. Like I mean, sure, like he might be able to snipe the base, but if he starts losing carriers left and right, notice how many sentries there are still. By the way,
dude, abducts come in here, and you get in a lot of trouble very, very quickly. Like then he has only what 2 High Templars in here, 1 or 2.
Yeah, I just see the 2 here.
Yeah,
but then again, there is so many carriers,
3 High Templars that
it's still a very, very scary army to engage into. And these 2 Oracles, by the way, putting in overtime. I think Neeb is consistently tagging the army of Rogue, which is very important. If you don't do that for a minute and then you get caught, you're going to lose a lot of units, like instantly.
Okay, Todd, looking at this game, in your opinion, who is winning right now?
Whoever's going to overextend. And so far, nobody has.
Yeah, but like, who do you think right now? Is this just dead even in your mind?
I think it's pretty even, yeah. It's anybody's game. I feel like Neeb's army is definitely a lot scarier, but Rogue's playing it right. He's not moving off creep. He's staying with his static defense.
Yeah, he's playing so carefully, as we see here.
It feels like he's going to take some mistakes from Neeb for him to lose it, though. Like, if Neeb plays clean, if he keeps on being as aggressive as he's been. Look, he's re-expanding, and he's cutting the economy of Rogue very well right now.
But a couple carriers getting picked off right there. Beautiful moves by Rogue, losing nothing at all. Did you see that? Okay, we got to talk about that. I'm actually getting some nerd chills right now. He sent masses of changelings north, and Neeb started clearing them, and then his units moved to the other side and picked off 2 carriers. He just traded changelings for carriers. I thought changelings didn't even do damage.
Apparently they do when Rogue is in action, man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, they don't. Getting surrounded. What is this, Warcraft 3?
Well, that was a beautiful ghoul drill right there. All right, going to be able to maybe pick off this base.
What's the income of Rogue right now?
Pretty low.
Like, yeah, look at how low it is. And he doesn't have much of a bank, especially gas-wise. Neeb doing everything right here, and he could be taking a win against
I
one
know,
of the most
that's
hyped Korean
crazy.
players right now in his first series
Oh
of the
my
tournament.
gosh.
That is so sick.
It'd be a Neeb finals at that point. Oh my god!
And I mean, if you beat Rogue, you can definitely beat Sue, especially with the way he was talking about
absolutely.
it. Wow, so impressed here by both players, but I really feel like Neeb is trying to edge away.
No. Okay, look at this army of Rogue. Do you know how many spells he has right now? This is crazy. Like all these things that are fungled, he can just kill off very, very easily. He can neural almost every unit in the army of Neeb. He can just take
And
over
he's saving
Neeb's
energy
army.
very well as
but
well.
Is Neeb's army high enough DPS to kill itself before neural runs out? That's the real question here, Todd.
Yeah, no, I mean, also, like, the static defense obviously will come into play, right? Like, you need to tag this army consistently. I think that's what Rogue's waiting for, essentially, for Neeb to overextend, for him not to have the Zerg army revealed, in which case you can go for these neural parasites, and then mid-fight it's very hard to properly have these oracles in position to use the revelation and then start fighting properly.
What is Neeb doing? He's just adding like 5 Stargates. He has 200 gas. Why is he adding 5 Stargates? Is there a mineral unit that's made out of Stargates?
He's going to remax with more and more carriers. I mean, his gas is about to start mining again with the new base that he took at the bottom, and plus that one. And he might start taking the top left-hand side as well. Like, it's not even a split map at this point. He's playing a real estate game, and he's winning.
Oh, my gosh. He has Boardwalk and Park Place right now. But Rogue, I mean, if you got hotels on Baltic Ave, man, you still have a fighting chance.
He's such a nerd. I love it.
I'm a Monopoly pro, Todd. You should know this. All right, so the Broodlord's pushing in towards one of Neeb's bases. Will he come down and try to actually save this? No, it looks like he's going to do a counterattack.
That's some of the gas. Like, that's almost the only gas that Rogue's
That's some of the
mining
only
at this
gas on
point.
the whole map.
Oh, this is so sick. Even the creep was pushed back almost on the entire map. Rogue doesn't even have that much vision. Like I said, if you're a Zerg, you want to fight with your static defense and on creep, which Neeb never let happen.
Well, Neeb just kind of marching through the map right now. He's killing a lot, but this is actually one thing that I feel like Rogue is above all Zergs on as well, is he will sacrifice, like, everything. He knows what is valuable in the late game, and he doesn't care. It's like, oh yeah, you're going to kill a bunch of my tech and a bunch of my buildings. That's fine. I'm not going to throw the game. Okay, it looks like a Revelation goes off, and he actually recalls. So giving a lot of respect here, and now he knows where he recalled to because the interceptors fly that way, but... a lot of respect given there to Rogue. As soon as he sees that Rogue's actual army is coming, he doesn't want any part of that.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. He doesn't want to overextend. Broodlord's a little bit out of position here. They get tagged. I think Neeb will pull back Abduct. Oh my god, the Mothership was out of position just for a little bit, but Neeb is still expanding at the top side. He's taking the base that was meant for Rogue here, pretty much.
Oh my gosh, Neeb just taking all
he's
the
gonna
maps
catch
all
all
over
this.
the place.
Oh my god.
A lot of spores that are going to go down.
And Neeb has actually freed some supply as well. He can even add some more carriers to his army.
But look at Rogue's army supply right now. It is really massive. When you see a Zerg with that type of army supply, look at this, 23 Infestors. Is that only one Viper? Ooh.
Yeah. The lone Viper, Steph Curry.
Well, he is going to have to abduct from downtown here, man, and get that Mothership core most ASAPly.
He's going to have to land the 3 points from a football field away, Artosis.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering why Neeb whopped in like 11 Zealots. I guess he has the minerals, but and he gets a hatchery, and that's going to weaken the gas income even more for Rogue, who already doesn't have that much.
That's okay, though, because the space is going to be taken down. But these Ultras are getting trapped.
Yeah, every time that's gas being traded for minerals, which you don't want to have happen.
You don't want to trade 4 Ultras for 1 Nexus. He's burrowing Ultralisks. This is we are watching him burrow Ultralisks. He's like, no.
Oh, he didn't recall the Voiders.
Yeah, he only recalled a piece of his army. Where did he go? Oh, he's flanking them. I see.
You're trapped.
All right, down go the Ultras. So that was a bit wasteful from Rogue. Yeah, he denies the top left, but at what cost?
What's Rogue supposed to do here from there? I guess he can only wait.
Do you see these 3 hidden Infestors?
Yeah.
Those are at like kind of a funny position right there.
Yeah, he didn't reveal them by fungling the Zealots, but if Neeb went forward one single time and somehow got fungled big time or even abducted on some stuff,
that
he might
can
be in
actually
trouble.
win the game.
But he has observers in his army, so you actually will see them and kill them most likely. So even
that's
like,
true. He can target them down. Well, I mean, the fungals themselves are pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
you need like the sickest fungal of all time to win this, I feel like, here for Rogue.
Well, he has 23 Infestors, so he has a few shots at it. He needs to do a 360-degree flank of Infestors to get
No
this fungal
scope.
off.
He needs
Yeah,
to
no,
no
it's-
scope this army.
But he needs Infestors to come from all corners of the map. He needs a Nidus in the top right, a Nidus in the top left, a Nidus in the bottom right, a Nidus in the bottom left, and just throw them all in there.
And then so
Come in from those
interceptors can
sides.
kill everything.
Oh my gosh. Now he can fungal all those. He'll chain fungal the carriers to death.
Neeb has been so patient and he's played this so
Dude,
well.
this
Like,
is...
say what you will about this army, like obviously it's very strong and hard to counter as Zerg. It's actually very easy to throw away a game like this.
Oh,
you attack
absolutely.
wrong one time, you get abducted. Like it happens in so many games.
All the games
even at
that-
the highest level.
Yeah, all the games that we've seen Rogue hit at this stage of the game, when he hasn't taken a bunch of damage early game like he hasn't this game, he ends up winning. Just so you guys know. So like even though this is looking more and more Neeb favored, do not count Rogue out yet. He does generally win from here.
Yeah, Neeb's doing something weird though. He's saving supply space here. He's not making more carriers just yet. Maybe he's waiting to pick what he will go into, but you need to be careful. You need to have a sufficient army here to deal with the Zergs, because Rogue is on 167 army against 159. Here we go. 1 Immortal and 7 more High Templars. So I guess he wants to have more storms, more feedbacks, which is very important, I think. Like he's actually been lacking High Templars a little bit in his army here as Neeb.
Well, he might have some sort of inkling about where all this supply is. It's underground. It's infestor-based supply.
Yeah.
And he needs 23 feedbacks, really.
Yeah.
That's a lot of feedbacks.
Guess what? He's got 8 High Templars building up on energy. He made a bunch of Archons to make sure these carriers are well escorted against the Corruptors, which actually it's a massive amount of Corruptors here. We've got 19 of them. That's super scary.
Rogue, he doesn't have a whole lot left on this map. His income, definitely not up there. You know, he's got that kind of one base in the bottom rightish area, but there is another base down there that they've been fighting over quite a bit. Like Neeb has lost it 3 or 4 times. So Rogue is still playing a very patient game. He knows that like if you actually kill your opponent's army and don't lose your whole army, you win, and that's both sides here. So, like, even though, for instance, right now, if we're watching this and it's like, wow, Neeb is really getting ahead. Neeb is really getting ahead. If he wrecks Neeb's army, which his army could theoretically do, 2,000 minerals and 1,300 gas will not rebuy enough to kill what Rogue has. So, the way Rogue is playing this, even though it's like, you might look at it and be like, you're losing. Why are you just sitting there? This is the best chance for him to win this game, is to wait for Neeb to overcommit somewhere.
And in terms of position, he's staying with his static defense down there, which means that if Neeb tries to expand a little bit too hard on the bottom right-hand side, Rogue can attack with his static defense in position and actually kill that and win the big fight.
Yeah.
So Neeb is forced to expand at the top, but Rogue has done a good job of attacking there, preventing that base from being taken. Early Mothership gets abducted. Quick recall this time around, but the rest of the army is not on the map. Preemptive Storms landing. Yeah, oh my god, these are revealed. Be careful.
Yeah, okay, well, he gets some of the High Templars here. He's starting to pick off some Oracles, which is actually really nice. That's really the bulk of the detection. He lost quite a few Infestors. Well, no, I guess he only lost a couple Infestors.
Well, what's down at the base of Rogue?
It looks like a Zealot attack that's getting cleaned up. Yeah, Zealot Immortal.
So that's what these were meant for.
I love these Immortals just kind of walking in here right now.
Like they own the place.
Yeah. We'll
Except
get
they
you,
don't.
Ultras.
No, this time Autosis.
No.
I want to see what Neeb replenishes the free supply here with. I really feel like some more carriers might help, but then again, like if you overmake them and they clump up, it's gonna be trouble.
Yeah.
So sometimes you would want to add more
I'm
ground,
not
but there's
even
so many
sure,
Broodlords
man.
that like
He's got so little money. This is like such a hard game. Rogue is the most patient Zerg in the world.
after Snoot.
No, he's more patient than Snoot. I'm sorry to inform you of this. You don't see Zergs like that. Like he's like, nah, I mean you can mine more than me, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I need to win one battle. That's it. That's the only thing he's thinking about right now. Neeb has been mining way more for a while.
Yeah.
He's been more cost efficient for a little bit.
Rogue is even patient in his expanding because he could have already attempted to take the bottom right-hand side again, but he's like, no, you know what? I'm going to wait for my other base to mine out, and then I'll take that and move my static defense there.
I love the Tempest. I love the Tempest.
I was thinking
feel
about
like,
this when I said, like...
I feel like a lot of Protosses have just stopped making Tempests overall against Zerg. But if you have, like, Tempests are actually more cost efficient than carriers if you have Oracles out. Like, you can hit everything from out of range. So if you just protect them with this type of army, I mean...
Yeah, that's a good protection to have. Yeah.
Those are some good bodyguards. Because this game's about the Tempest right now. The Tempest can force Rogue to eventually attack in.
Link sniping a Nexus on the right-hand side. That other base pretty well protected here from Neeb.
He needs to drop 2 Banelings in that top left base.
and bring him from 37 walkers to 15.
Yeah.
Be pretty sick. But
Well,
he
he has
already has such an
4,000
economy.
minerals.
Yeah, like
He doesn't care at all.
he almost would want that. Like
Yeah.
he'd get more army.
He would love to trade 4,000 minerals for 150 gas.
So patient, man. All of
Yeah.
these spores. It feels like Rogue needs more spores than this, though, even for the big fight.
Well,
right?
he does not have much money, and he does not
Yeah.
even have many drones.
I'm not sure what. Does he have actually more spores on the map? Like the spores getting caught on the map earlier was a big deal. Like,
Yeah, 18 spores.
More.
So, I mean, that's a good amount of spores. It's not 25 cannons, but, you know, it's pretty good.
You have to
can't
do with
move,
what
though.
you have in terms of minerals, right?
Yeah. Just tons of tags coming down.
Two
Seeing the
Vipers, by the way.
infestors is the most important thing.
Kobe just rejoined Steph Curry.
Oh, my gosh.
Or LeBron. LeBron James, actually.
Well, these guys are going to
back.
need a triple-double here to win this match. We need the abducts coming in very, very quickly here. The thing
I like
is,
Parasitic Bomb on the rest of the army. Just abduct for the mothership, right?
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
not like
well,
Parasitic
I
Bomb
mean,
on the-
actually,
on the air?
anything you can abduct is good if you're playing that type of battle. But if it's an actual battle, Parasitic Bomb is way, way better.
Yeah.
And, like, if you can do something like Fungal and Parasitic Bomb, wow, that is just chaos. That is what he is doing with his APM right now.
He's like, oh, you think you can click? I'll show you. That is a lot of overseers as well. I don't think Rogue is going to run out of detection here
No,
before he
probably
runs
not.
out of units.
Well, when all of his overseers are gone, then the game is over.
That'd be some next level detection sniping here, like Fear Dragon level, like the DT's blinking right after. Like
Well, he didn't get
After he
DT
sniped.
blink. He might lose the game because
Yeah.
that. Who knows? And you see that poking. He just really dealt a lot of damage there.
You know what's really risky about Rogue delaying the taking of that bottom right-hand side base is that Neeb might actually fight for that eventually and try and take it. So I guess that might be what it comes down to, essentially,
could
right? Rogue's going to man out this base. He's going to move all of his spores to the bottom right-hand side and try and fight there. Actually, they're engaging a little bit here. Yeah, the spores getting caught here. Neeb was fishing for this. He saw that the army was
Ooh,
tagged, that they were out
yeah.
of position. Those spores are so important.
Yeah.
If you run out of spores there, if you don't have enough of them, Neeb wins the straight-up fight quite easily.
He's not zoning anything really right now in this area. He's going to move some more spores up there. But the StarCraft symbol's going to go to Neeb. You know, the creep getting pushed back a little bit here as well. The vision of Rogue is very small. The map is a small, dark place.
No pun intended.
I know. He's. Oh, that's a fungal. Those are fungals too. I mean, those are
Yeah, he's
those are
trying to-
pretty good.
He's trying to land the feedbacks here.
It doesn't seem like he can quite chain fungal all this to death right now. A little bit afraid
Yeah.
to overcommit his infestors.
I'm surprised High Templars don't go forward more. There's not much threatening them here other than the Broodlords. If you
That's
can
a
land
good
some
fungal.
feedbacks.
It doesn't take too many fungals to kill these. Look at this. These fungals are really starting to come in right now. The Ultra comes up, kills off these High Templars. If you don't have the High Templars, you're in a lot of trouble. Look at that recall, like 2 centimeters away.
The Ultras went
There
forward.
aren't-
They're like, kill
Yeah.
me. Attack me. I'll
Just a
sacrifice
few
myself.
High Templars are left. He's making more
Yeah.
Tempest, more Void Rays as well. Another Viper coming out.
But Neeb does have more gas still. And Rogue actually replenished his economy a little bit more. He's building up a bank now.
Yeah, bottom right.
Did he remake spores actually after he lost? I think I saw a bunch of spores, but I'm not sure if he just transferred them. I think he might
I
have
think this is just a
transferred them.
transfer. Okay.
That was weird. I almost felt like they were actually going to fight for it here for a second. But Neeb, I think it's the right move here to start and recall as he lost shields on some of his air units.
Yeah. And
The main thing, I feel like for Zerg to win this, the only way is to somehow kill the mothership to start things with. And then take it from them. Maybe landing the right neural on the carriers as well and not having everything feedback and killed instantly, which the Broodlords take care of. But it's just so hard to commit to that one fight because it can go wrong so quickly for either player, right?
Do you
is
see
a
what I
real
see?
fight. Yeah,
This is
that's
so funny.
They're turning on another Artosis on one another. They're not bound by the Kala anymore.
This was the question we were talking about. Does the Protoss army have enough DPS to kill itself? And the answer is no, actually. The neural just runs out. All the units are fine.
And this guy is still moonwalking in the Zerg base.
Look at that crab walk. Okay, some Zerglings come in. The hatchery will live for now.
176 army supply to 151 Artosis.
Do you see this game?
I think Neeb might just like throw away his probes as well eventually and just build 200 pure army
Well,
supply.
Yeah, I mean, if you just
Look at how
literally,
close it is.
if there's nothing left, you may as well.
Look at how close it is on the resources lost.
That is crazy.
Neeb has lost more now. Rogue caught up somehow.
Wow. Well, this is the efficiency of Rogue. There's not another Zerg that plays like this, man. He will sit here all day.
What a sick
I mean,
matchup
we're
here.
44 minutes in, Todd, but I mean, how late can we really go?
I feel like it's bound to end very soon. I feel like they're going to fight.
Well, there is a
maybe for the
draw
bottom right.
mechanic, so eventually games do end. So I would love for this to draw after 2.5 hours, and then we do it again.
You know, I mentioned that whoever is playing defensively might be at advantage. I feel like Rogue might be the one forcing Neeb right now to be the one that's going to have to attack into him by taking this base later on the bottom right-hand side that has the most minerals and gas. So unless Neeb wants to play with, like, I don't know, some sort of multitask or even like Tempest and try and chip away at the army from afar, which is still very dangerous to do, right? He might be the one to try and have to play aggressively on the bottom right-hand side eventually, which Rogue would want, right? With his Spores in position and the Chris right there.
And if he does attack
He's
in,
using probes.
he can't attack in. Yeah, oh, you know what? I think you're right. This is what he's doing right now. He just killed his own probes on purpose so that he can max out fully with army. Look at this. This is going to be the biggest Protoss army we have ever seen, literally in the history of professional StarCraft. 195 Protoss army supply.
What is he making?
Oh my God.
Is it carriers?
Production tab, please, good sir.
Okay,
7
carriers and more
carriers.
Void Rays. Oh my
So
goodness.
wait, okay, so 3 carriers, I can't read, and 3 voids. Okay.
So it's going to be a good mix of carriers, Void Rays, Archons to protect them from Corruptors, and High Templars to try and deal with the Vipers, plus the Infestors, which is going to be really hard, but if you land the right Revelation, I mean, at this point, Spores, these few Spores, they're almost irrelevant in the fight. They won't do that much, right? Because it's fully upgraded air army
this
and
much
ground.
is just craziness. They're just like a slight zoning tool. It kind of slows you down for a moment. But this army that Neeb is making puts the Golden Armada to shame.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is it? What is it then?
It's the Neeb Armada. I mean, this is like the greatest Protoss force ever assembled. Okay, in the multi-million-year history of Protoss, there has never been an army gathered like this.
You put it in words the best way I think you could.
In StarCraft 1, we call it, Arbiter Carrier maxed out, the Finger of God. This is the Fist of Neeb. Okay? This is the ultimate set of units.
He was like, what can I get for 1 supply? And he's like, I already got enough observers. So he's actually keeping 1 probe mining, chipping away at those minerals on the top left-hand side. It's 199, not 200.
Yeah. He's got to do it. 199 army supply. Oh my God.
The army value through the roof here. And Neeb, he still has a bank behind this as well. He could like remake a bunch of gateway units or replace some sort of air. I think he might not even come into play. When I see this army, I'm like, the Rogue's not supposed to win.
Todd, I'm really nervous right now. Okay, I've cast a lot of StarCraft games, so I've never casted a battle like we're about to see. This is going to be crazy. Oh my God.
It's nerd chills time, Arthur.
Oh my God, it seriously is. Look at
What if
Neeb.
he clumps up everything and gets fungal? Like,
amazing fungus!
let's be clear, that is not going to happen. I think Neeb's just going to...
Look at this, the High Templars.
Yeah.
They're going to the high ground.
They're flanking from the high ground.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they're out of position. The High Templars are out of position right now. Ultralisk running in, tanking a ton of damage. The fungal only catches 2 voids.
You see what they're doing? They're trying to bait the opponent to attack into them, but neither player will flinch just yet. The Tempest are going to chip away here forward to try and bring the Zerg army into the Protoss one. Neeb still taking his time, still being patient, as is Rogue.
Yeah, and Rogue will give up his main 100%. He might need to rebuild like a Spire or something, like whatever he needs very quickly here. Yeah, targeting that down is exactly perfect. But
actually, Rogue didn't max out yet, and he's supply blocked. He's maxed out.
He's got a lot of money in the bank. I'm not too worried.
He just maxed out. Yeah, okay, no. Yeah,
okay,
I saw he was missing some supply. So he started an Ultra and 4 Infestors. Okay. I saw he was missing some supply.
Okay.
I was looking at it.
So 177 army supply against 197 right now.
How did he lose 2? He lost a High Templar? Or a Sentry, actually. Don't you feel like 3 sentries
No,
is too much?
He must have lost a High Templar because he had 3 sentries like this entire time.
Don't you feel like 3 sentries is too much? You just need the 1, or?
I mean,
maybe we shouldn't be so
you
picky,
probably need 2. You probably need 2, right? I mean, this is a big army, man.
I see some sort of counter-attack across the map. Rogue, I think he's trying to make Neeb not look... Oh, if he could get some...
Did you see that? He just stormed his own army to kill changelings underneath it. He is so sick of killing changelings.
Yeah. He has enough shield upgrades for that to regenerate super fast.
No problem.
These are like borderline gods, man.
No, this is the craziest thing right now. Kerrigan and the Overmind are working together.
Only you, man.
Right? They're enemies, right? Like, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, how many spores is that? Was down to 10 earlier.
14
Back to
spores
14.
added in.
Yeah, okay.
The spores are like part of Rogue's army, really.
Yeah, they're very important there. And I guess like if there were just 8, they wouldn't be that good, but it's starting to be a little bit more now. Ideally for Rogue, the fight's going to take place where the spores are. I would have thought that Neeb would be more pressure to attack on the bottom right, but instead he's just focused on maxing out and chipping away. They're both still playing that game of trying to bait the opponent into attacking.
But Neeb is not going to attack, and Rogue is not going to attack. So all the minerals are going to get mined out, and then what happens? Because eventually the countdown to draw will come. And actually, listen to this. Listen to me for a moment. These guys, this is BlizzCon, dude. This is the World Championships, okay? I think that if we do go into the completely mined out and no one has attacked each other for reals by then, they might let a draw occur.
Yeah, I don't think that will happen. To me, it's pretty unlikely.
Well,
I feel like they're going to start fighting a little bit here and there. Going for some abducts here, landing them, but Storm start landing on top of this air army.
Gets a Tempest.
Rogue is struggling to kill anything here, really. Even if the few units that he kills, Neeb replaces so easily. Resources lost still very equal. 4 more Corruptors on the way.
Oh, that fungal on the High Templars is absolutely huge. The Ultra's going after him. Get a couple of them, but a ton of damage dealt to Rogue's army as he backs up here.
Yeah, Rogue's army is bruised. He's still trying to be active. He's still moving off creep here to try and land some of these fungals and maybe abducts. But he lost a lot here in that fight. That wasn't...
Has to back up.
He killed a bunch of units as well, but Neeb's bank was a little bit superior. And Neeb's not replenishing that right now even. He's waiting. He's waiting to see what Rogue will add on here.
He made a couple Zealots here.
Oh, that's smart. He's going to bring the army of Rogue back out of there, in which case he can kill the spores, which would be a big deal.
That's worth it for the Zealots for sure. And he might actually just kill this straight up. But to be honest, I mean, there's not that many minerals left over here.
Rogue will be happy to long distance mine for a little bit, you know.
He'll be fine with it. We know the type of player that Rogue is. Okay, the Fist of Neeb moving to the right side of the map right now.
7 more Void Rays. I think he realized there was so many Corruptors. He's like, you know what? I need some more of these guys. I mean, if Neeb can split his army properly, doesn't get fungal, even Neural Parasite's not going to be enough to deal with this.
There are so many fungals. Like, there are so many infestors right now. Neeb is down to 67 gas, by the way, so this is the end of Neeb's army. He can make 23 Zealots from here.
Okay, so I think Rogue was also kind of aiming for this, for Neeb to run out of gas. And if he runs out of Oracles for detection, he's only going to have Observers, which is not enough against that many Infestors, right?
And you can kill Observers pretty easily if they get in the way of a fungal.
What a sick game.
This is this is the craziest late game of a PvZ in the history of the game. I'm not exaggerating.
We thought that Mana and Firecake were patient, but this is they
don't even know. Those guys are rushers. Those are cheesers. Okay, here we go. He's going for it. Rogue moving in right now. Fungals on top of these Void Rays, but they turn on. A ton of Neurals coming out. So much damage everywhere. It's hard to say what's even happening. Oh my god, he's taking control of Neeb's almost entire force here. But the Void Rays dealing massive, massive amounts of damage. Carriers being targeted down. The Ultra running around underneath. There's nothing for him to attack.
Some of the Spores were attacking, but some of them were not burrowed here. Infestors still trying to do what they can here, but Broodlords are starting to die in Infestors as well. I think Neeb's done it.
And that's it.